Good evening, Jody here from Healing Journey. To learn more about me or visit my website, go to www.healingjourneyservices.com. So, a note to our viewers, today I am going to be talking about feminine health. So if you're a man and don't want to hear about that, feel free to leave now. Otherwise, there's some very important information that women may want to hear about tonight. So I know when I first got into the health scene and I started to read about feminine products, I was so upset to hear about some of the toxins that might be in tampons and pads. In fact, I didn't want to hear it at all. And so I didn't really read much about it for a very long time because I found that moving into the health sector had required so many changes. And it was so expensive to change certain things in my life that I really just did not want to deal with toxic tampons. But unfortunately, that is what we're dealing with. And so what I didn't realize until I started doing my research is that there is no law that says that companies need to disclose what are in feminine hygiene products. Yeah, that's right. So if you look on a package of pads or tampons, you're not going to see all the ingredients that they use in these products, which is disturbing because that means that you have no idea what you're putting up your vajayjay. And let's be honest, the vajayjay is a specifically absorbent part of our body, our vagina is. And so it's really important for us to know what we're putting in there. In fact, in the States, they now have Menstrual Products Right to Know Act of 2017. And this act has been introduced so that companies are required to share what is in feminine hygiene products. So one of the things that was and still is put in certain feminine hygiene products is known as SAP, or super absorbent polymers. So these are petroleum based and they're found in products like Always. So they were banned in the 1980s from being used in tampons. So you can be rest assured that you're not going to find these products in tampons. However, they will be found in pads and they've been connected to skin reactions. So you might want to think about that when you're using specific sanitary napkins. So tampons is made of cotton, rayon, and pulp fibers. And so when we look at cotton, unless you're using organic cotton, you have no idea the amount of pesticides that are being used on it. So glyphosate is a huge pesticide, otherwise known as Roundup, that's used in the States. So my guess is it's also being used in the cotton industry. And the only way to know that those aren't showing up in your tampons is if you choose 100% organic. Otherwise, you're going to be getting some pretty significant pesticide exposure, which is kind of disturbing. So rayon can also be known to cause health issues. Specifically in tampons, they've been linked with toxic shock syndrome. And so that's another concern with tampons. And then when we talk about tampons, there's also the issue of, it being uncomfortable and you can't always wear them for that long. And so what I wanted to talk a little bit about is some alternative feminine hygiene products that are out there because I hadn't really heard of them until I started getting into researching and thinking about, finding other ways to reduce my body's toxic load. So when we talk about why it's important to reduce your body's toxic load, just a reminder that every little bit counts. So we're getting so many toxins from so many different avenues that the more you do to remove your body's toxic load, the healthier you're going to be, the easier it's going to be for you to fight infections, and the better overall you're going to feel. So this is why I provide you with tips in these videos to continue to detox your life. So obviously the first one that I've mentioned, which is pretty clear, is use organic tampons. You can't really find these in most drugstores, so hit up your health food store and check out organic tampons there. The second thing that's actually quite new to me is something called period panties. So examples of this are Gladrag and Luna pads, or if you Google period panties, you can find these. And so these are washable, reusable, And apparently, I've never tried them to be very honest, but you can wear them for the course of what would be the equivalent of 2 tampons. So that way you're not sticking anything that's toxic inside of your body. The other thing that is becoming more and more popular is the menstrual cup. And so I have one here. I don't know if you can see it. This one's called the Bloom Cup. You can get the Diva Cup. It's actually made it to mainstream, so you can find it in your drugstores. There's also the Lily Cup, Soft Disc, a bunch of different ones. And essentially what it is it's a silicone cup that you're inserting in your vagina. And so this is taking away that rubbing of the pads, and it's allowing you to, the tampons, and it's allowing you to collect for longer. It is, the downside of these is that you do have to wash them. However, they can be much more comfortable and eliminate any sort of odor. So that is something that you might want to consider looking into. If the first one that you get doesn't fit, I highly recommend trying out different brands. So different brands are different sizes, and it's about finding the right fit for you. If you have any questions about how to use this, those are totally normal. I know when I first started using them, I was a little bit confused. You know, how do I wash it? What do I do with it? Can I wear it to bed? So it does come with lots of instructions, but definitely feel free to shoot me a personal message or even comment on this post if you have any questions about, hey, how do I use these things? Because I think it's something that women don't necessarily talk about all the time, but it is such a great alternative to wearing tampons. The next thing that's out there is something called the disposable disc. And so this is actually also very new to me, but these are a kind of a cross between a tampon and a menstrual cup. And they're disposable, so unlike the menstrual cup, you don't have to figure out how to wash it in a public bathroom, for instance. So you can throw them out, but they are not like tampons because they're not cotton and absorbent, so they're like a disc that you would insert. So if you're looking for one of those, then you can check out something called the Flex Fit. And so the Flex Fit would be something that you can use instead. So I'm actually just going to share my screen with you here. There we go. So you can see the Flex Fit. This is what the product looks like, and it's disposable and equivalent to 3 super tampons. So much like the menstrual cup, you're not going to have to worry about changing it all the time, and you're also not going to have to worry about toxins. So when you're thinking about feminine products, definitely think about your pads, your sanitary napkins, and your tampons. Thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, please feel free to personally message me or message below. Also, just wanted to remind you that I do have a free program. If you visit 8minutestohealth.com, spell out the number 8, then you can receive 4 weeks of daily emails of tips that you can do to make yourself healthier in 8 minutes or less. Thanks very much, and have a great evening.